James, we're getting into the final weeks of this book in this series, and as we talk about the heart in this particular week, you know, what did you mean when you talked about the heart really matters in what we spent all these weeks talking about ministry things, but bringing this full circle, why is the heart so important and what needs to be evaluated with it?
Yeah, the biblical concept of the heart is so important to understanding who God's made us to be, right? So that the concept that's talked about in the Old Testament, the New Testament, the word heart that's used there is just really rich with meaning, not just the physical, organ in the body, but really rich with meaning. Who you really are is represented in the Scripture by your heart. It's the seat of your mind, what you think. It's the seat of your emotions, what you love, your affections. It's also the seat of your desires, your will, what you want and what you'll do. And so the heart really is who you really are. Now, in ministry, we can define ourselves by lots of outward characteristics. Our job, our pastor, as pastor, or our gifting, our preaching, something like that. But in God's eyes, who you are inside is who you really are. And so, the Proverbs tell us to guard our hearts or to keep it. It's one of the translations. And it really speaks about both the offensive and the defensive way in which we keep or restrain our heart or keep or protect our hearts. And so it's important for us to watch out for sins that attend to our heart and different temptations. And of course, there's a way in which these sins are common to man, but then there are particular ways in the way that the Lord has made us in our background, our history, certain temptations that attend to us. And it's important for the pastor to be aware of that on the inside. What are the things he's tempted to think about? What are the things he's tempted to love or have affection for? What are the decisions that he's tempted to make for selfish reasons instead of Christ-honoring reasons? And so it's just absolutely critical. But the church won't see that right away. And even your elders won't see that unless you lay that bare before them. So this is a work that must begin for the pastor in the quietness of his own reflection, but he must guard his heart above all things. And often the Lord will let your ministry run for a long way in a bad direction before that's exposed.
Yeah, that's helpful. And I think when you think about the illustration of the heart that you're articulating, that Scripture, the New Testament uses in particular, it's interesting as I'm listening to you talk, and you're talking about our physical heart is actually hidden from view from everybody. So to your point, it's about knowing what's there. We got to take a look there inside, and then we've got to reveal what's there. Otherwise, it stays hidden. And I was thinking of Jesus, his own words, that where your treasure is, there your heart will be. So the heart is connected to what is most deeply important to us. And so when we want to emphasize what's in our heart, exposing what's there, laying it bare before God, that's what's so significant about a pastor walking with God first and foremost, is you can't hide the heart from God. You can hide your heart from everybody else. And so to have that physical illustration, if you will, before us, the importance of knowing what's there, but then also we have to expose it to people in our lives. Otherwise, it stays hidden, and bad things can happen at that point, right?
Yeah, one of the things we hope this resource will do is draw not just young, aspiring pastors, but older pastors who are mentoring together to talk about these things. The journal's there not just for you to reflect on, but for you to lay that bare and then have a discussion about it. This resource is meant to be used in at least a small group of two, maybe a few more than that.
Right.
But hopefully create a pattern so pastors over the long term of their ministries will have a habit of digesting material, not just intellectual material, but heart level material with other men so that they can be challenged and encouraged.
Yeah, if the people who are going through this book and this study have walked through each week, they know what we're talking about in that we have tried to design this in a way that pushes them, one, in self-reflection, and two, tools to be able to share what's going on with each other. So we want to encourage, hopefully you've done that they've done this with us, but hopefully they would continue that even when this ends.
That's what we hope.